Mwamba sarani Ndiye ndiye Mwamba sarani Muchaneta Ndiye wandinoda Muchaneta Ndiye Mwamba sarani Mwamba sarani Mwamba sarani Mwamba sarani Mwamba sarani Ndiye Mwamba sarani I had a little radio that could record on cassette. So after work I would spend the evening at home recording on that little radio. Then I would come play the cassettes at work at Brown and Kinloch then. And it seemed to make sense to my colleagues because they were like, but you know, this actually sounds good. Why don't you just record? So my first attempt at recording didn't work out. I don't think the producers then understood what I was trying to do. But regardless, I was able to mature and come up with something a lot more comprehensive, So when I eventually went to record, at least I had some kind of shape, and it's the shape that then launched my first album called Such Is Life. So that album was produced by Kelly Rusike and Manasa Mjao at Shape Productions. And it was quite an experience because this is the time I began to meet a lot of these musicians that I would hear and read about who came to record on that album. The likes of Sema Taure, even Kelly Rusike himself, Manasa, Richie Lopez, the saxophonist. We also was Pat Prudence, Katumeni Mbofana, Victor Duarte. So it featured quite some exciting names, and the album was just as exciting as the names that appear on it. And that's Vanai Masango on guitar. Very exciting. So in 2003, I launched that album, Such Is Life, at the Book Cafe. That was the venue those days, where everyone who cared about art and music would come to, So I think in December of 2003, I launched Such Is Life, and In 2004, obviously, I had to back it up by performing the music. So I then left the tobacco industry to pursue music full time. So yeah, and it's been a journey and a half. Fortunately, Such is Life was received very well, and it made an impact and got me the recognition that I have now. But then we had so many musicians, so many exciting musicians, and it was great to be counted amongst those great musicians and to interact with them, because as a young man growing up, there are people that you never imagine you could one day meet and share ideas with, and so it was exciting, new in the industry, not having been exposed to any band or anyone in the music industry. So I was literally coming from no man's land to being there as a musician. So obviously I needed a lot of help from fellow colleagues, even putting up a band. I relied on guys in the industry. Of special mention is Tendai Mparutsa. When I lived in the States, I could say he was the first my band member who understood my vision and where I wanted to go, and helped me, select guys that would share the same vision, and that's how I started performing at places like Jazz 105 and the Book Cafe in Manenberg. So in 2006, I launched Uyo, but I would like to speak about my first band, because that's the band that pretty much introduced me on the live scene. I notable people like I remember, I think on drums I had Shamu Mparutsa. I would rotate him with at times Blessing Mparutsa. There was also Dennis Mshaishi, but he came at a much later stage. And then on bass I had a young man called Pritchard, who wasn't experienced at all then, but became such a dependable member of the band after our chemistry, was in sync. I had on guitar the late Leon Senna, a brilliant guitarist, one of a kind. I had some backing vocals like of Sharon Chisha, Dukas Chamatuno, and a lot other people in there. So 2006 we then recorded Uyo, which was again well received, and that carried us through to 2010, where I recorded Andinete, and that carried me through to 2014, where I recorded Kwedu, or I launched Kwedu, and 2020 where I released 2019 I released Ndacha. So those are the 5 albums to my name, and grateful that they've sustained me until today. So there's obviously more music coming, and it's always an exciting prospect on how the ideas will be shaped, for the next projects, because projects never really stop. For a musician, we work all the time. I've always said this about musicians, or rather artists, the moment we are grounded by art. It's when we are executing it. But when we are creating it, we are everywhere. You know, whether you're walking or you're driving, art is being created. Whether it's through observation, it's through stories being told. Art never stops. You've heard some musicians who say they've dreamt about songs. Yeah, I used to find that difficult to understand. You know, when I would hear a musician say, yeah, you know, I dreamt of a song, and I'm like, how does that happen? It has happened to me where I'm sleeping and an idea comes through whilst I'm sleeping. But by the time I wake up, normally that idea is gone. So, yeah, artists are working all the time. So next time you meet me in the streets and greet me and I appear like I didn't respond, it's not because I'm ignoring you, but something big could be happening in my head, something that could change your life. Yeah, so, you know, when artists go into that quiet slumber, they are not ignoring. They're trying to retain an idea that could change your life, that could excite you tomorrow and forever. So we don't ignore people. At times we don't want to be disturbed because we are in that creative mode. Yeah. So next time you see me sitting here and seemingly doing nothing, it's not like I'm not doing anything. I'm actually working. Because our work is not defined by movement. It's not defined by leaving home and going to a particular space. It's defined by what's in our creative minds and the creative juices flowing at that particular point in time, regardless of where we are. My journey with instruments has been minimal, actually. Like I said, the only thing I managed to learn by being taught by other students is the marimba. So, because I deviated from the discipline of playing the musical instruments, because I went into drawing and designing and all the other stuff, I didn't expose myself enough to learning a lot of instruments. But nevertheless, that came to I then was fortunate to go for the Saturday pop workshops at the College of Music, after being invited by the likes of Domingo Lobe, and was assigned into the bass guitar class because all the classes were full. I would have loved to be in the guitar class, but only the bass guitar class had space for me. And the first time I held a bass guitar was actually through Philbert Maroa, who was the bass guitar tutor for that program. So I remember playing, you'd demonstrate how to hold the bass and play it. And then I remember holding it and, playing. And he was like, have you ever played the bass guitar before? And I was like, no, this is my first time. He says, oh, okay. You hold the bass guitar like you've played before. I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is my destiny. So Yeah, but I've always wanted to learn the guitar. Even though it's not it's my favorite, but I'm just not as good at it. I enjoy creating my music through guitar. The lines that come to me when I'm making music or when I'm creating music are usually the guitar lines that come through first. So yeah, then I bought an acoustic guitar and started figuring out how to hold the notes and play on it, and through that the basic after I managed to get the basics. I was able to create my own guitar lines and to write songs in line with those guitar lines. So yeah, that's how I started playing the acoustic guitar, and of course, it was always encouraging to watch people like Oliver Mtukudzi, who were the icons and of shaping a genre. For example, Oliver, you could identify Oliver just by that acoustic guitar and feel to his music, as well as his voice. So yeah, I'm still struggling to learn the guitar, and I think I've given up. But when it comes to my ideas, I execute it perfectly well. But I love guitar. I love guitar. I know I would have been a much better drummer than a guitar player, or a much better bass guitar player than an acoustic guitarist. But yeah, I like creating my melodies on guitar. I was shown the basics of Mbira by a visitor who came home in Bulawayo a long time ago, who actually brought a Mbira set, and I was just amused at this thing. Then he showed me one or two movements on it, and when I became exposed to Mbira, I kind of started also figuring out how what I'd seen previously. So again, I like to create my Mbira lines. We have the traditional Mbira players and Mbira songs that were created a long time ago, but I don't want to stop there. I believe in creating new Mbira songs for the future, only that this time these ones will be documented, because if I come up with my own song, in future neakunzi song yapasi chigare but yakaitwa yakanyorwa naningi. We never used to document all these songs that we call traditional, but these songs were composed by people, by our own forefathers, you know, and mothers. So I like to approach it that way, you know, to create my own lines that no one is heard of, and hopefully that can be adopted in the near or far future. The exciting thing about music is it brings people together, knows no boundaries. Music speaks a language that everyone understands, and it got me friends. Some friends I would never have imagined in my life. I'll talk of fellow musicians, you know, a lot of musicians that I grew up listening to. I ended up being very good friends with them. I remember watching Choniso Marayon with a group called Piece of Ebony. And I was young and I was like, who is this lady and who are these guys? They've got a very exciting vibe. And eventually meeting them and becoming friends in music and everything was something I really appreciated. The likes of Oliver Mtukudzi could never dream, as a young man, but the wisdom and the ideas, the reception generally, these were people that were received, that these are people who received me very well. They taught me that the industry should never be a hostile industry. In fact, as musicians, yes, we are inclined to manufacturing a similar type of product, but our products have different tastes. And by that I mean we can all play traditional music, we can all play so-called jazz music, we can do the Yamazwano, urban grooves, zim dance, or whatever genre of music one can do, but the taste is different from one particular artist to the next, and therefore what it means to the recipient of that music is it becomes complementary, because you are going to like this taste, you are going to like a little bit of that taste, you are going to enjoy that one and enjoy this one. So you've got a spectrum of musicians that you are going to enjoy. So our role is to be complementary, because I don't expect everyone to like what I do, but I will complement someone else whose music you may like, who's okay, but I like this one, but this also has got a bit of my taste, you know what I mean? So we are complementary in music, we complement each other, because you can't please everybody, but you can only give your music out there to be appreciated by those who enjoy it, really. So I was fortunate to work with Adam Chisho. Adam Chisho was a big influence to a lot of musicians, the likes of Andy Brown, Choniso Maraire, Ilanga. We're talking of that kind of a musician, and the wealth of experience and the perspective in terms of compositions that he brought. I think this is an artist who is not credited, was never credited enough, because he was working in the background. But when we look at a lot of the compositions by some of these musicians he worked with, a lot of them have to do with the creations by Adam Chisho. Yeah. So those are just a few, but I'm friends with a lot of musicians, really, because I believe in friendship, I believe in family. When we are musicians, we are family. We are not antagonists. I'm not about to sing a song about fellow musicians not liking what I do, because that's not my feeling towards other musicians. I don't know what they think, but I listen to everyone's music and I appreciate it as it is. If it's a nice song, it's a nice song, that's it. And I don't understand antagonism and competition, because in as much as it may have benefits for some, but I believe in complementation as opposed to competition, really. I was fortunate to spend time with Yuma Segena. And unfortunately, I would have loved to spend a lot more time and do a lot more with him. He was introduced to me initially by Sema Taule, but a long time ago. But then I was just one of the guys that had been introduced. I was a musician already. But more so when he started visiting Zimbabwe more often. And he had a project that he wanted produced. He wanted Choniso Marere to feature on the project because he was very good friends with Dumi Marere, Choniso's father. They were good friends in America. So he always felt he needed to honor his friend, and there was a project he wanted to sponsor, a Mbira project by ladies, just women Mbira group. So yeah, that's when I got to meet him, and he had the opportunity to hear what I'd been able to produce. That is my music, of course. And he instantly then said, I want you to produce this Mbira project. So it was called Shy Shy. Worked on it for months on end. And he would periodically come here. We sit in the garden and chat, whatever, you know. And he always had exciting stories to tell. Very humorous, you know. And who would expect, you know, a dinner with Yuma Segera telling you about his family history and all that stuff. And because his roots were also from here, it was a time that he needed to you know, I don't know what I would call it. You know, there comes a time when you want to go back to your people, and it's a thing we never understand really. But he came here often, and we shared some exciting times. So yeah, what more could a musician ask for when you meet such world icons, and you are just Victor Kunonga? Yeah. Chariro iyanjanzi yangu. You know, I had an interview with her a few days ago, and you know, when I was singing, she was backing everything so well that I didn't understand why I never had a song with Chariro. Yeah, you know, the world of being a female musician is very tough. It's a male-dominated industry, and when women make a mark in it, it is noticed, because not many people expect women to make a mark in music. With the way at times people perceive music and musicians. So she's one person who made a mark, not only by singing, but by playing an instrument, which is a plus, because I believe the strength of a musician and consistency in terms of what they produce and write comes from being able to execute their work on an instrument. which then influences everyone around to follow. So this is what Tariro has done. The music starts from her instrument, and obviously resonates with every other musician who is going to participate in that particular project. So well done, Tariro, for all the work you've done, and also paving the way for, besides of course the likes of Stella Chueshe, Choniso, and so on. I read them. That's what we like. I like that kind of approach because, atisodi kugesa with what you are about, what you are wanting to do. No one thinks for you. Your instrument speaks to everybody, and then everybody who is going to be part of what you are doing then complements your instrument. So that's what Tariro has done on guitar. Walter, we shared exciting times. We do share them up to now, but Walter was part of in fact, the Shy Shy project was then handed over to Walter, because Walter was the man on the ground, because you was obviously away in South Africa. So anything that needed to be done around the project was through Walter Wanyanya. And he's the one who then introduced my music to you, Masekela. So yeah, vibrant character, very sociable, the guy who wants to get things going, and hence that's why obviously he became Oliver Mtuguzi's manager. So yeah, he's a good guy.
Victor's music is magic. It's some of the best compositions I've heard in my life. He's an amazing producer, amazing composer, incredible guitarist. It's like nothing you've ever heard before. If you love good music with hectic African rhythms, that's Victor Kunonga for you. I don't know how I can describe his music without having you listen to it. But it's magical. It takes you to another place. He's one of my favorite musicians in Africa, to be honest. I love his music. I love how he composes. I love how he puts his music together. He's an amazing producer as well. Besides just being an artist, he's an amazing, incredible producer. So yeah, he's an amazing act. Definitely one of Zimbabwe's biggest artists that we have.